Our next interview, talking to MHKs after the first year of the Quayle government, Bill Shimmins is with us. The new boy, but definitely one that's come, I haven't used that term hitting the ground running, but you were straight into Treasury, which is obviously the powerhouse as it's perceived by government. I mean, you get an extra uplift, don't you, being in that department and all that sort of thing. Horses for courses, you're happy with that, I'm guessing?
Well, I've enjoyed it very much. I mean, it's a great privilege to be a member of the House of Keys, and certainly Treasury is a great place to start because you interact with all the other departments. So very quickly I've got, I think, a good understanding of their priorities, their opportunities and some of the challenges that they face. So it's great.
But you're a banker, so it exactly fits you. That's what I'm trying to say, isn't it? I mean,
sure. So hopefully I'm adding some value in terms of making a real positive contribution.
So you retired from the bank on this fantastic, no doubt, pension, and then you decided you wanted to go back to do something for the Isle of Man. Does that summarise what you felt like doing? Well,
I was concerned about the way the island was going. You know, our population was declining, and particularly young people were leaving. So everything seemed to be drifting along. So I wanted to hopefully help and help with some of the decisions that we need to make.
Okay, when you stood, when you were doing the door knocking, was there one thing you went around the houses saying, I will do this? I mean, was that your sort of patter to improve things in general?
Well, it varied on whoever you talked to, but I think it was important for people that I could demonstrate a track record of taking decisions, understanding the need for some financial restraint as well. So,
how are you finding it?
I'm enjoying it. It's very, very different than being
Everyone's
in the
saying that.
sector.
Everyone said that. I mean, you of all people, you're a high-flying banker, making all the big decisions here. You know, the group man in charge. Walking in sort of treacle, some people always describe this because you've got so many more hoops or more people to persuade. How do you sum it up?
I think it's a difference in pace. So things do take a bit longer in government, and that has surprised me. I was hoping to inject a bit more pace, and I guess perhaps that's because it's a new house, and there's quite a lot to learn as well. There's a lot of slightly unusual processes and customs, just like any organisation, but Tynwald and the House of Keys has a long history which it's very proud of. And I mean, just give you an example. We're in the middle of a 13-week summer recess at the moment. That doesn't really happen in the private sector. So one of the things I'm suggesting is, actually, I think we could at least half that, because what that means is we're rushing some legislation to try and get it through. Sometimes mistakes are being made, and some things are being held up. So I think we can need to take a new look at some of these things. And I think also, if we did that, perhaps it might attract more younger people to stand for Tynwald, because it's actually quite difficult if you've got parental responsibilities for children as well. So that's just one example about how it's quite different from the private sector.
What sort of working hours are you having to put in? I mean, compared with the private sector, is it about the same, or I mean?
It's peaks and troughs, and there's less goes on in the morning. There's quite a lot goes on of an afternoon and an evening, and it does sometimes you are absolutely flat out, and you're given 2,000 or 3,000 pages to read, which is I think quite challenging in terms of for a week's reading to understand and get underneath. Other weeks, it's a variety. I guess that's part of the joy of the job, and no 2 days are the same, which is great.
This paperwork thing to sound quite. I mean, do you think a lot of people don't actually do as much diligence as others on this? I mean, reading all the fine print. I mean, that goes with the job, isn't it? But you kind of get the impression that some people probably don't have that ability to understand it, maybe.
Well, I wouldn't suggest they don't have the ability to understand it. Far from it.
Well, you've got the financial background, so I'm saying,
Yeah,
so.
no, I understand. I understand where you're coming from, but I have to say I've been very impressed by many of the new members that are in who brought all sorts of different things. I don't think you necessarily have to have a financial background. Far from it. I think some diversity is very helpful.
You've got the purse strings. I mean, with Alf Cannon, obviously. You know how the Isle of Man's looking. How are we looking?
Well, I think actually things are a lot more positive. In the last government report, we saw that the population was starting to increase, and that's something that's really important to me, because we were faced with a declining population and a population that was getting much older. So one of the reasons why I'm very keen that we relax the work permits, and hopefully we'll see some progress on that in the autumn, is because we need to attract young people, young economically active people to come here to help fill the skills gap.
Who'll all be cycling to work? Because you were the one that pushed for that, I understand, wasn't it? The benefits to get out your bike?
Well, in many ways, we're just following on what's happened in the UK and Ireland, but there's some clear initiatives now. So I'm delighted that the active transport initiative is out for consultation at the moment. So we're very keen that people respond to that. And if we can get that right, we can really tackle some of the congestion which causes frustration and pollution around the island, and also help with the health and well-being of the population.
You say mirroring the UK, that's what we always hear all the time now. We're not being forward enough. I mean, you could have brought electric bikes into this thing, you didn't, or whatever, which, cause I remember asking you that might interest some people. That, yeah. But, you know, do you feel we just rubber stamp so much legislation?
No, I think in terms of that electric bikes, I think that's something we need to look at, frankly. And I think we're very keen to get people on their bicycles, and for some people that electric motor can just help them get up the hill.
You're looking at me.
Yeah, which is
true though.
Which is great.
It would interest a lot of people, but you know, that's what I'm trying to say. Do you think we're enough getting here on the
I think things will evolve. In many ways, we're 10 years behind the UK so on this, and perhaps even further. Many European countries are further down this journey than we are.
Okay. What do you want to pursue this year? Have you got the next government's year? Have you got anything you want to particularly aim at and get passed, and new legislation, anything like that?
Sure. So a few things I'm very keen. I'm very keen to continue to drive on work permits to make sure that
you just won't get rid of them, right?
I want to relax them.
Relax or get rid? I mean,
no, I think relax. I think we could suspend. Okay. I don't think we should get rid of them altogether. But everywhere we go, I'm finding that people are struggling to hire, and I think there's now hopefully consensus that we need to move forward on that. I'm also keen to see, as one of my priorities, the minimum wage increase. I argued very strongly that the minimum wage should increase higher than it did this last time, and it's clear to me that we need to take action like that, and perhaps also look at access to housing if we're going to ensure that young people want to stay here, and also we can attract young people to come, because they are our future. So it really is very important in that big picture. Is
there any other department you'd rather be in, or you're happy where you are? I know you're going to say you're happy where you are, but okay, let's try. Would you like to be a minister, and if so, which department would you like?
Would I like to be a minister? I don't expect to be made a minister.
You've got a minister that's going through. In a weird way, you do have that thing that you've got this background that probably is most useful. I would be very surprised if you're not at some point.
Well, we'll see. I'd be very surprised if I was, but I would actually be delighted if I was made a minister, because I went into politics to try and change things. Right. And your chances of achieving that change are much higher if you're a minister than an MHK.
So Mr. Quayle says, what would you like? What would you say?
I would be open to any suggestions. I mean, I think being part of the Council of Ministers is actually quite important if you want to drive change forward. Yeah. So
is that frustrating that you haven't got that input?
No, it doesn't frustrate me at all. I'm learning all the time, and enjoying it very much, as I say. So no, I've been doing this for nearly 11 months now, and I'm enjoying it.
Okay, so when you're going for the Chief Minister's job, did you vote for Mr. Quayle? Who did you go for on your list? Do you remember?
In terms of the Chief Minister's election, I voted for Alfred Cannon.
Right.
And it was a very difficult decision. There was obviously 3 good candidates, and I listened to what all they had to say, and also had looked through their manifesto. And for me, Alf was more progressive than the other candidates, and I felt he would be more likely to drive the change which I felt that Ireland needed.
But how has Mr. Quayle been for you?
I think he's doing a good job. I think it's a really tough job.
Would you like it?
No, I think that's way. I'm still learning my craft as MHK.
So that wasn't a no. You one day you want to be in this for the long run.
I've been in for 12 months, so 11, 12 months. So
I'm only asking, like, have you got a view, like, do you see yourself standing again, for instance? I mean, I know it's early days, but do you see yourself, I mean, I'm asking everyone, a career politician in other words.
I'm 1 year into a 5-year assignment. I think let's make a decision on that when we get to year 4, would be my view.
And enjoyment-wise, would you recommend this sort of job for people?
I would very much recommend it, and I think it's incredibly fulfilling, and I would encourage, and I'm already trying to encourage other people to.
But
to
you
stand.
see younger people on TV.
Yeah, I think we could do with some more young people. I mean, I'm getting on a bit as well, and I'm one of the younger people. So, so I think younger people, and also I think it would be good to have more diversity. You know, particularly women standing. I think it would be really helpful.
Okay, well, I'm going to ask you to rate yourself out of 10. How do you think you've done this year?
I think probably about 6 would be my view.
That's quite low.
Yeah, I think when I came in, I probably had higher hopes of what I might achieve.
So you're very critical of yourself then?
Well, I think it's about what you deliver, you know, and whilst I have managed to achieve quite a number of things, there's a fair amount of work in progress. I think what I'm really hoping is, with 1 year down, both for myself and others, we're much more experienced, much more savvy about the whole thing works, that we can actually get some traction and deliver the change that people are
And this
looking
next
for.
year is that big year before you know it, it'll all be looking ahead to the next election.
So I'm really hoping that a very positive outlook.
And we should all be happy with, you see what's going on. So back to that, positivity, growth in the population, there should be that well-being inside us, so we're not all having our house, because house prices is obviously where people look what's going on. You know, it's still static, still pretty slumped, isn't it?
It's pretty flat. There's still a lot of houses being built as well. So, I mean, there's a number of different metrics. I think we've got a lot to actually be proud of.
You're happy
and be positive about. I think there's a lot of things we also need to do. So, I mean, we've talked about some of them.
Yeah.
So, I think we absolutely must get some traction, and I think the government needs to focus on making things happen in this year rather than talking about them or having consultations or committees.
Yeah. At this stage, then, how do you rate the government out of 10?
I think probably about a 6 as well. I think they've got a good
Again,
start.
quite low.
Yeah. I mean, I think they've done a lot of planning. So a lot of preparatory work has been done. Now we need to focus on delivery. And I think that's what people want. We can talk and talk, but actually it's delivering that matters.
Well, we'll talk again this time next year.
That'll
See how it
be great.
goes.
Thanks a lot, Paul.